Hey, how you doing? So welcome to this week's One Image My Edit. So this week we're going to be looking at the first stages of retouching a portrait. So this is an image taken by VIP member Nick Wicks, and this was on a portrait workshop that I'd held on Sunday. So this is the original image, and the finished look that we went with was this here. So we've gone for a very painterly effect, a very Renaissance style with the color tones, with the edit. And what I'm going to do in this tutorial is walk you through the first stages of cleaning up skin. And then in the VIP group, I'll be continuing to demonstrate the whole edit to achieve this whole finished look. So let's get started then. So the first thing we want to do is duplicate the background. Let's just press Command J and that duplicates. You can also right click and just select duplicate layer. This now means we're not doing destructive editing as it's known. It's non-destructive. So anything that we do can be changed later. So let's zoom in. And the first thing we want to do is take out any imperfections that may be there on the skin. So the tool we're going to use is the spot healing brush tool, and we're going to make sure that sample all layers is selected and that content aware is selected. That then means that Photoshop will use any of the content around it to blend the imperfections basically. So if we go in to this area here, so where this spot is there, we can just click and you can see that it's a very simple process. And this is the start that I do of any portrait, is just taking out these imperfections. So you can just click, you can also click and drag, and that creates a black line then, which then blends everything in. So this can be quite laborious. It can take quite a long time, but you need to do this and have a good foundation for your image, because the longer you spend just working on any imperfection, the better the result is going to be when you come to actually softening the skin, which I'm going to show you in a minute. So this is a process that, like I say, I actually quite enjoy it. I don't mind doing it. It's quite therapeutic, and you can really get to know the structure of the person's face, and that usually helps you then determine what I'm actually wanting to do with the edit in general. So taking out this here, usually I wouldn't, but the model has said that she's actually getting that surgically removed, that mole, so she wants me to take it out, so I will. So just any of these little imperfections we can see, and I'm working at 300% at the minute, and that's a pretty good range to work at, just to be able to see all the pores of the skin and clean it all up. So I think the skill in this is not going overboard too much, because you can be a little bit dazzled by how close you're working. So it's a good idea sometimes to zoom out just to see where you are, and then you can zoom back in and then pick up any imperfections that stand out. So for me, there's some around here still. So there's this here, there's a section there, and there's a section down there. So here I want to take out this hair as well, so I'm just going to make the brush smaller, and I'm just using the bracket keys on the keyboard just to make them smaller, and then we can really hone in on precise locations. So anything that you want to take out, remove, you can. So for instance, we want to take out these bits of the hair up here. We can continue doing that. That's it. Okay, I'm not too bothered about the lines because I think that's part of the facial feature. Some of the lines we may want to soften on the eyes, but we can do that later. And they're not really imperfections, they're part of her face. So these eyebrows here, probably want to just take the tips of them off there, just to give them a little bit of a better shape. There we go. And same over here. And also I think it'd be worth just tidying this section up here. That's it. And if we make the brush bigger, we then get a bit of a bulkier blend. There we go. So that's looking okay. So if we zoom out, again, we can then zoom back in and just pick out spots that stand out when we zoom out. That's a really good method of kind of doing this workflow, is just zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out, and then you'll see things just catch your eye as you're going along. There's something there, something there. Here, that needs addressing. There you go, and I'm going to make a little bit. If you make a mistake, just press Command Z and you can go back. So that's fine. So that looks okay to me. I think there's a couple of little areas that I could probably work on for a little bit longer, but for this tutorial I'm going to leave it as that, and I think that's okay. So if we look at the before and after on there, so if we come up to this here with this layer one that we selected, that we created rather a minute ago, if we click on the eye, you can see there's the before and there's the after. So that is the start of this process of softening this skin. So there are manual ways you can soften skin, which is frequency separation. I've done tutorials on that before, but what I'm going to show you is a new product. It's not a new product that's on the market, but it's a new product that I have recently purchased, and I wanted to show you it because it is a brilliant tool. So this is a plugin, and if I come up to filter and then come down to the bottom here, it's called Imagenomic Portraiture 3. So I'm just going to click on that, and that is going to open up the plugin for Portraiture 3. Now, what's good about this plugin is you can see straight away the before and after. You can zoom in, so we can really see what's going to happen to the skin and how much it's going to be softened. And up here we do have different settings. So we have a default setting, which will just give us quite a standard edit to the skin. As you can see there, it kind of knocks it out of focus just a little bit. Then we've got normal, medium and strong. So depending on your image and the kind of look you're after will determine how strong that skin will be. You can also change the opacity. You can show a mask as well, so you can see exactly where these areas are going to be applied. You can do all sorts of stuff with this. You really can. You can target places and use different hues and stuff like that, sliders. But all you need to really do is the auto mask is on. So we click that, press strong, and then down here where we've got the selection boxes, it says new layer. I'm just going to press OK to that. And that program is now going to run and then create that softness, which is what we want. Now the problem is that it's done it to all of the image. Now, even though it did use a mask and it picked up the face, what it has done, it's run over into the eyebrows, it's run over into the eyes, into the lips and the nose, and we don't want that. That's not very good control. So the easy way to correct that is to come down to the bottom here and click on this here, which is add a layer mask. So that is a white layer mask. Now if I press Command I, that will invert it. So that is now black, meaning I've covered up the layer mask. So if I come to the brush tool now and then select white, which is the opposite from black, and if I change this opacity and flow, so I've just brought that down a little bit, the brush is, I want to select a soft round brush, hardness at 0. And now what I can do is start painting in the areas that I want to be soft. So if I actually bring this up to 100%, you'll start to see it's ever so slight, but the whole effect is quite big. So again, this can be a little bit laborious, but it's well worth the effort to take the time to really think about the direction of where the light's coming, just so you get more of a natural effect rather than just splodging it on. We're thinking about how the light would be falling on the face, and this will then help us with our final image. So, and here around the eyes, so again we can just go over these sections here, and what I'm going to do is just paint in that nose on that section there and this cheek here. I'm going to leave the eye for now, so I'm painting around the cheek and then the edge. And you'll notice when you do it this way, you get a much better finish, because sometimes the mask on the program doesn't actually pick up the face properly, and you end up with a little bit of a fuzzy line around the edges of the face. So this is really good for that. So again, I'm going to be ignoring the lips. We don't want to soften the lips because they are going to be, we want to leave them alone. So we're going to do this part here, which is the philtrum underneath the nose there. Okay, and also I'm going to avoid the tip of the nose there as well, just and these nostrils, because they will naturally be sharp within an image. If they go soft, then it will look odd, and we don't want that. So just painting in these areas here, and you can see on the mask up here, anywhere that I'm painting in is now coming white. So that's just showing us what's actually being affected and what isn't, which is really good. So if we just continue this, and we can see just the before and after, you can see that's starting to work. So again, let's come down here on the chin. So, and just continue working. So again, I'm trying to follow the contours of where the light is falling, and that way you'll get a much better blend, and it will look just a little bit more natural. We just follow them lines there. Okay, so let's go up to the top of the cheeks up here, and I'll make the brush a little bit smaller and just come in under the eye, and then this side of the nose, on the bridge of the nose, and again just ignoring the actual nostril areas there. And if you do make a mistake, all you need to do is change the brush back to black and it will take it away. So it's quite simple. Okay, so that's starting to look good. So that's a nice edit there. So it's nice and soft, and like I said, we've managed to make this look a little bit more natural than it did with the actual just the mask there that tried to select the whole of the face. So what we can now do, just to double check, is change the brush to black, because sometimes it will with that mask we want to take it away and make sure that we haven't accidentally gone over anywhere like the eyes, the eyelashes. We just want to make sure 100% that we didn't spill over by accident. Same with the eyebrows. Just we need to make sure that that is definitely not selected, not painted in. Okay, yeah, and then the nostrils. So again, we want these sections to be sharp there and there. So this is a bit of a refining stage, I suppose, because we're just going around the edges and just making sure that we haven't accidentally painted in, which I know I haven't, but we just want to make sure we get them edges nice and sharp. So there we go. There. So also as well with this is what I do want to point out is the importance of having a makeup artist. So having a professional makeup artist who knows what they're doing is worth, well, they're worth their weight in gold, because if they do a really good foundation, a really good job to start with, then it just makes your life easier when you're trying to do this stage of the process, because they look out for any imperfections and they get everything right, so that in camera it's as best as it possibly can be. That just helps the retouching stage. Then you'll be surprised at the difference it can make. Okay, So now we've done that, we look at the before and after. So let's take that off. Let's take off the first layer there. So the first layer was using the spot healing brush tool, and that was just to get rid of them spots, them any imperfections that was on there, which is, you know, can be bits of dirt and things like that. And then actually smoothing out the skin, so you can see there's the before and there's the after. So we can then take this to another level by changing the opacity if we so wish, so we can actually start bringing that down. And what that will do, if we go to 0, that's obviously taking it all away. So what we can do is just drop it down to about 70%. I think that looks pretty good. That is just knocking back the actual adjustment there. So 100%, in my opinion, is too strong. And what that's doing is starting to blur out areas around here. So it's just too strong. So if we say we bring this down to about minus 70, that looks a little bit more natural now, and we can actually get away with that. So that would be the first stages. The next stage on this then, which I'm going to show you, just because I think you'll find it really interesting. Come up to, let's go to filter and then go to liquify. If you look here, it's got face aware liquify. If we click on that arrow there, that drop down, what we can then do is start adjusting the face. We can make adjustments to individual and both parts. So here we can change the eye distance, but we can also tilt the eye, we can change the width of the eye, we can change the nose. There's a lot we can do to actually change the whole structure of the face. So what I'm going to do on here is just pull that jawline in so it's a little bit more narrow there. And I can also change that chin height, so I can elongate and shorten that. I can do the same with the forehead, so I can just pull that up a little bit more. And I can change the mouth height, so I can just widen them lips or make them smaller. So you can do a lot with this. You can make it wider, you can make it smaller on the width there, and you can even control the top lip and lower lip. So there's a lot you can do there. Now with the face width, which is the global adjustment there, you can see what we can actually do is just pull that in to just bring that face in. And the reason why I'm doing this is just for creative reasons. It's not because she needs it. There's nothing wrong with her face. She's a beautiful young lady. But it's just for editing purposes. Okay, so I want to get that out there because there's nothing wrong with her. So I'm going to enhance her lips a little bit at the bottom there, and just bring that jawline in a little bit more, I think, around there, and then just bring that face in a little bit. There we go. And let's have a look at the nose then. So we can raise and shorten that nose as well. So this can help if you get the writing wrong and you just hit a say for instance you've got a bit of a shadow on one side, then you just by changing this width and height, you can kind of enhance the image, and it can help with a lot of mistakes, which is good. So the eye distance then, we want to think about what the optimal eye distance is going to be, and where her eyes are, I think, are absolutely fine. But what I have noticed is that the left eye is slightly smaller than the right eye, and that's probably to do with camera distortion. So we can change the eye height, so we can almost just make that a little bit bigger, and the eye size as well, so we can actually make the whole thing a lot bigger. But I think if we do it too much, then it will look too obvious and she won't look natural. So I think it's about there. So if we press OK to that, and again, I just want to reiterate that there's nothing wrong with the model's face at all. This is just for editing purposes and for creativity. I'm just narrowing the face to get a specific look that I'm after. Okay, so that is the first stages of this whole process, which is editing an image to get this kind of painterly look. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and I will see you on the next video. If you're a VIP member, then look out for the full training video where we'll be going from start to finish, from concept right up to the end result of how to get this look. Okay, I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.